Fourth Avenue to Techwood Drive, O'Leary to Key. It's WreckTalk.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to WreckTalk. And today we're going to be talking about 680 to the Fan and how they gave us a lesson in what clickbait is. Before we get into that, though, I want to talk about the sponsor of the channel, the sponsor of this video, King's Ransom. Now, you see this thick, luxurious mustache. I haven't shaved it at all this season. I've been using King's Ransom on the daily. And you know what? We're undefeated. Is that any coincidence? Now, if you want to get on the undefeated train, you can go to kingsransomusa.com today. You can use promo code WreckTalk, and you can become part of the winning team. All right, so let's get into this. I'm not even going to play any of the video. And the reason I'm even making a video myself about this is because I got a comment. In fact, I've gotten more than one about, hey, Rec, you know that there's rumors. There's a lot of talk about Brent Key going to Penn State. Brent Key to Penn State. And I'm thinking, Penn State hasn't even fired James Franklin. Also, Penn State can't fire James Franklin because of his buyout. So here's where they're getting this from. There's a video titled from yesterday on 680 The Fan's YouTube channel. Georgia Tech's star coach Brent Key rumored for Penn State's job. Where are the rumors coming from? All of these guys in a room recording a radio show trying to out-retard one another. That's where it's coming from. First of all, that's not even what they talk about. What they mean to say is, we have Brent Key as a possible candidate. It should the Penn State job come open. It's not open, right? Then they go into, well, if Penn State, they basically say if Penn State's serious about winning, they'll fire James Franklin. They can't. They can't. If they fired James Franklin today, it would be the second highest buyout ever paid. Ever paid. They would owe him $50 million. Then they would have to buy Brent Key out of his contract that he just signed last year. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. Also, let's say they did have the money to fire James Franklin and pay his buyout. They still wouldn't hire Brent Key. Brent Key still has kind of a lot left to prove. He's done a really good job at Georgia Tech. He took over a awful situation left to him by one of the worst coaches to ever do it in Jeff Collins. But he still look at what happened last week with Wake. He struggles to win as a favorite. Let's just call it what it is. That's where Georgia Tech has to take the next step up this weekend in handling a team in Virginia Tech that just fired their head coach, that's had people already opt out for the season, that you're a 14.5-point favorite in. Like, Brent Key still has to prove that. This is the definition of clickbait. Georgia Tech star coach Brent Key rumored for Penn State job. Now, I get people, whenever I make fun of like Colorado or Florida State, in particular, those two fan bases, I'll get comments like, this is clickbait. Clickbait. They think clickbait is you saying something that is offensive to me or that I don't like to hear or you're shitting on my team. That's not what clickbait is. The definition of clickbait is this. They know there's no rumors about Brent Key going to Penn State outside of the ones they're creating on a dying platform, which is radio, on their show. And thankfully, look, it's got like 1,400 views. I saw this before I got any comments on the channel, and I didn't watch it because I knew it was clickbait horseshit. I knew it was. This tells me how thoroughly the education system has failed us. My suggestion for a lot of people, just in the college football fandom community in general, practice a little bit of skepticism. Ask yourself, is it even possible that this makes sense? Is what they're saying even possible? No. Really, the question you need to ask yourself is Brent Key worth investing probably $80 million into? If you're Penn State, $50 million for the buyout to James Franklin. And then, you gotta wipe the staff with him. Buying Key out of his contract, that's probably $12 million. So there's $62 million. Hire a new staff, that's probably another $15 million, right? Really $100 million. $100 million. By the time you sign Key to his new contract, which it would probably take at a minimum $8 or $9 million with an extended 5-year contract to bring Key out of Georgia Tech. So is Brent Key worth $100 million? No. I love Brent Key. But no. In fact, on the ACC show, I was arguing with Slim, who's a Miami fan. And on the show, I said, he thinks that Key might end up at Florida. And I was like, I'll bet you $20,000. Dead serious, by the way. Dead serious. I'll bet you $20,000 right now Brent Key don't end up in Florida this offseason. $20,000. Brent Key's not going anywhere. Like I said, Brent Key still has a lot of things to prove as far as progressing as a head coach. He's done a lot of good things. There's still a lot of good things yet for him to do. What it would take to move Brent Key from Georgia Tech far outseeds what he's worth. All right? It far outseeds what he's worth. I don't have an issue with 680 The Fan, but this is pretty stupid. This is pretty stupid, and you're not even getting the viewer payoff that you're looking for with a clickbait title like that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think, Brent Key's going anywhere? Do you believe insanely stupid stuff like there's all this smoke about Brent Key going to Penn State? Let me know in the comments. We'll talk to you guys later.